All right, let's dive into one of the most common and, let's be honest, one of the most confusing verbs in all of Japanese. Kaeru or kaeru. If this little guy has ever tripped you up, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to master this thing for good.
So let's get right to the heart of the problem. You see a verb that ends in eru. Your brain, totally logically, thinks, oh, okay, that's an Ichidan, a type 2 verb, the easy kind. But with kaeru, well, that's where the trouble starts.
And seriously, if you've fallen into that trap, do not feel bad at all. You are in very, very good company. Getting this verb wrong is practically a rite of passage for Japanese learners. But today, we're going to leave that confusion behind for good.
So it's time to pull back the curtain and reveal what's really going on with this verb. Let's get into the Godan verb truth.
Okay, here it is, the single most important thing to know. Kaeru is an imposter. It looks and sounds like a simple type 2 verb, but it is, without a doubt, a type 1 or Godan verb. And that means it doesn't follow those simple conjugation rules you'd expect. Nope, it plays by a totally different rulebook.
And here is the proof. You can see it right in its sound changes. A true Godan verb shifts its final sound through those 5 classic vowels. And look at that. Kaeru follows the pattern perfectly. We get Kaera, Kaeri, Kaeru, and Kaere. That is the unmistakable signature of a Godan verb.
Now, to really see this in action, we need to decode its 6 basic forms. So let's walk through how this verb actually transforms when you use it. Think of this table as our roadmap. It shows you exactly how the verb changes its ending depending on its job in the sentence, whether you're making it negative, polite, a command, whatever. Just take a quick look. Every single one of these forms is another piece of evidence that proves its real identity.
Here is our first major clue. To say I am not going home, what do you use? The negative form. And notice it's kaeranai. That ah sound is the big giveaway. If it were a type 2 verb, you'd incorrectly say kaeranai.
Okay, now let's check out the polite form. I go home at 6 o'clock every day. To add that polite masu ending, we have to use the stem that ends in an I sound. Kaeri masu. See that re sound? That's classic Godan behavior right there.
Now, here's a slightly tricky part, so pay attention. The E form, kaere, can actually mean 2 different things. If you see it followed by a ba, it's a conditional, like if you go home. But if you see it all by itself, usually with some force behind it, it's a command. Go home. Context is absolutely everything here.
Okay, that's the formal grammar. But what about the forms you're going to be using in conversation all the time? Let's dig into the most practical, need-to-know forms.
The te form is absolutely essential. And for Godan verbs that end in ru, like kaeru, there's a special little rule. You drop the ru, and then you add a small tu, followed by te. So kaeru becomes kaete. This is totally different from a type 2 verb where you just tack on the te.
And you know what's cool? Once you know the rule for the T form, the past tense is a piece of cake. It follows the exact same pattern, becoming kaeta. Now the potential form, can go home, is kaereru, which just to mess with us looks exactly like a type 2 verb. But you know better because you know its Godan origins.
So now that we know the right way to do all this, let's really hammer it home by looking at the most common mistakes people make. Avoiding these is the real key to mastery.
First up, the polite form. Oh man, it is so tempting to just drop the ru and add masu to get kaemasu, but you can't do it. You have to remember it's a Godan verb, so you switch to that I stem first. It has to be kaerimasu.
And this is the big one, the most telling mistake of all. If you say kaenai, you're treating it like a type 2 verb. The correct negative form demands that A sound stem. So the one thing you have to burn into your brain is this. It is always, always kaeranai, kaeranai.
Whew, we've covered a lot of ground, I know. So let's boil it all down to the absolute essentials. Here is your ultimate Kaeru's cheat sheet to lock this all in. Okay, if you remember nothing else, remember these 4 things. 1. It is a type 1 Godan verb, period. No exceptions. 2. The negative stem is kaerara. 3. The polite stem is kaeri. And 4. The te form is kaete. You master these 4 points, and I promise you have mastered this verb. So by untangling this one tricky verb, you've actually learned a pattern that's going to help you spot other exceptions in Japanese. So I'll leave you with this thought. Now that you've finally mastered the imposter verb kaeru, what other tricky verbs are you feeling ready to take on?